Before skyscrapers touched the clouds and before global power shaped world affairs, there was only land, silence, and endless possibility. Vast forests stretched beyond the horizon, rivers flowed undisturbed, and the future of this land was still unwritten. This place was not always a nation of influence or ambition, but a fragile experiment on the edge of the known world. It began not with certainty, but with risk, hope, and the courage to imagine something new. From uncertainty and ambition, a bold idea slowly began to form. Ordinary people dreamed of freedom from distant rulers and rigid control. This is not just history written in books or carved into monuments. It is a story of rebellion, sacrifice, suffering, and a timeless human desire to live free. Long before European ships appeared on the horizon, millions of Native Americans lived across this vast land. They belonged to hundreds of tribes, each with its own language, traditions, and way of life. These societies built rich cultures, complex political systems, and deep spiritual connections with nature. Their lives were guided by respect for the land, the seasons, and the balance between humanity and the natural world. For thousands of years, these civilizations thrived in harmony with their environment. They hunted, farmed, traded, and governed their communities with wisdom passed down through generations. Their stories, ceremonies, and beliefs shaped a deep sense of identity. Unaware of what was coming, they could not know that their world was about to change forever. In the 15th and 16th centuries, European explorers crossed dangerous oceans in search of wealth, power, and new trade routes. These journeys were driven by ambition and curiosity, but also by competition between empires. Over time, Britain established 13 colonies along the Atlantic coast. Small settlements slowly grew into towns, forming the foundation of a new society. Life in the colonies was harsh and uncertain. Settlers faced disease, hunger, extreme weather, and conflict. Yet hope remained strong, fueled by the promise of land and opportunity. Over time, heavy taxes, strict trade laws, and control by distant rulers began to suffocate that hope. Anger and resentment spread, and the idea of independence began to take root. By 1775, tension erupted into open conflict. The colonies stood against the most powerful empire on earth, armed with determination but limited resources. Despite overwhelming odds, they chose resistance over submission. They believed that freedom was worth fighting for, even if the cost was high. Then came a moment that changed history forever. On July 4, 1776, the Declaration of Independence was announced. It declared that all men are created equal, and that people have the right to govern themselves. These words challenged the old order of the world. A new nation was born, founded on revolutionary ideals. Independence alone, however, was not enough. The young nation needed unity, structure, and a system that could endure. Visionary leaders like George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, James Madison, and others faced the enormous task of building a government from scratch. Through intense debate and difficult compromise, they created the United States Constitution. It balanced power, protected individual rights, and allowed room for growth and change. It became the foundation of American democracy and a model for nations around the world. As the nation grew, Americans pushed westward, driven by opportunity, ambition, and the belief in a better future. New towns appeared, railroads stretched across the land, and the country expanded from coast to coast. The idea of progress shaped the American identity. But progress came at a terrible cost. Native American communities were forcibly removed from their ancestral lands, suffering loss, displacement, and death. At the same time, the system of slavery expanded, binding millions of African Americans in chains. These injustices deepened the nation's moral divide and planted the seeds of conflict. That divide finally tore the country apart. In 1861, the United States descended into civil war. The nation was split between North and South, between freedom and slavery. Brother fought against brother in the bloodiest conflict the country had ever known. Entire cities were destroyed, and families were shattered. More than 600,000 lives were lost in the struggle. When the war finally ended, slavery was abolished and the Union was preserved. Yet victory came at an enormous cost. The scars of war, grief, and division would linger for generations. The 20th century transformed America once again. Industry powered the nation forward as factories multiplied and cities expanded. Innovation reshaped daily life, bringing electricity, automobiles, and new technologies. America entered a new era of growth and influence. Through 2 world wars, the United States played a decisive role in shaping global history. Soldiers crossed oceans, economies shifted, and alliances were formed. By the end of the Second World War, America had emerged as a global leader, wielding immense economic, military, and political power. Yet, victory abroad did not mean justice at home. Millions of Americans still face discrimination and inequality. African Americans endured segregation, violence, and denial of basic rights. The promise of freedom remained incomplete. Through peaceful protest, courage, and determination, the civil rights movement demanded change. Leaders like Martin Luther King Jr. spoke of justice, equality, and unity. Their voices echoed across the nation, challenging America to live up to its founding ideals. Slowly, laws changed and barriers began to fall. Today, the United States stands as a nation of diversity, innovation, and global influence. Its impact reaches technology, culture, science, and space exploration. People from every background contribute to its identity, shaping a constantly evolving society. Yet challenges remain. Debates over freedom, equality, and the nation's future continue. The story of the United States is not finished. It is a journey still unfolding, a nation still striving toward a more perfect union.